and you don't know who I am Heather Bell, aka Mama Bell, mom to 8 kids. We are just the Bells 10. We're a family of 10 through foster care and adoption. And so I thought today would be a great day to do a question and answer. So I do get lots of questions. I try to answer some. Usually when in my lives, I'm either sharing cooking or baking or trying to, I don't know, do a craft or something with you. So I don't really get to talk with you when I'm on here. So I thought, how about I'm going to put my deodorant on right now while I'm talking to you, but I don't want you to see. There you go. So I thought what would be a great idea to do a question and answer as I get ready. I know the last live that we did, I shared with you kind of the things I put on my face, how I get ready to go in the morning, my different, like my makeup routine, which is very, very similar. Good morning, good morning. Not similar, but it's very simple. I'm very simple. I'm not going to put a lot on today. Good morning, everybody. Good morning. I'm not going to put a lot on today because I am going to be working around the house in the garden. We do have church later, and that way I guess I wouldn't have to put my makeup on in church. So I'm just getting all of my stuff out. Good morning. Good morning, everybody. Happy Wednesday. So I thought today would be a good day to do a question and answer because a lot of people ask me questions and I don't always get to, I guess I should have had all my makeup ready to go before I got on. I literally had to get ready yesterday. Hello, Sandy. So Sandy, I'm going to do a question and answer. So if a lot of questions come through and I can't get to them, I don't know if you want to jot them down and then you could throw them, like you can type them up so I can, answer them as I can. We're adopting a sibling group. You inspire me. Oh, thank you so much. And good luck to you. That's amazing. Will you do more chicken farm videos? So I do normally do a lot of chicken farm videos. I just did a little blurb of one. If you just watched how our family, what we did on 4th of July, I did do like a little run through of the horses, went to see how my husband's doing, check out the chickens. So if you give me specifically like what you would like me to share with you on the farm, I definitely can. So this year, this year we have not been able to take our chickens outside, which we're very sad because of the bird flu going around. And then we have 2 families of eagles that are sitting in trees on each side of the barn waiting for us to open up the barn for the chickens, and just a lot of predators this year. And then with the flu going around, and there's been barns in Michigan, downstate Michigan, that have had to get rid of millions and millions of birds. And so we've kind of kept them nestled, but our chicken barn is big enough and we open the windows, normally we open the sliders. So hopefully if that all goes, kind of goes through and we see that these chicken farmers are, the chickens are healthy and it's kind of passed, then we definitely will do that. We do limit the people that go into the barn because we definitely don't want our chickens to get sick because it is part of our livelihood. So only Haley and Josh, and then my husband goes in there. I do too to help, but we don't allow the outside public to come in just because we need to keep our birds safe. But they do have lots of room. They get sunshine. We have windows and just lots of airflow and stuff just to keep them healthy. And so then I just saw another one about homeschooling. I would love to see how you deliver your eggs to how you get your eggs accounts, to how you got your egg accounts. So honestly, we started with, so how our egg farm started was we just started with like 20 chickens of our own, just for our own personal use. And then we just started to love the chickens so much. We actually used to raise turkeys also. And turkeys are not very smart, and they stink really bad. And so we started with just 20 chickens and we moved to 75, then 150. We called our local not food pantry, our local organic store. It's not an organic store. It's like an all natural store. Asked them if they'd like to buy our eggs. So then we started selling to them. And then we had other people asking, well, are your eggs in other stores? And so then we just kind of went from there. We started, selling them to our local grocery stores. And we partnered with our university, NMU University here in town. And so the university buys our eggs, which is super cool. We're really proud of that. And then we also sell to some of our local restaurants, which is exciting. And we just picked up several different grocery stores, which we're excited about too. And so we house about 4,000 chickens. I think we're going to go down a little bit just because as a local small farmer, we can't compete with the big company eggs. You know, we can't sell, you know, our chickens are cage free, free range. Normally they're outside, but like I said, because of the sickness going through Michigan, we are just want to keep our chickens safe. And so we just can't keep up with the big companies. I mean, they can sell their eggs for 70 cents a dozen, and we can't do that because we get local feed. We have special feed made up. We buy our own cartons. We deliver to our local stores. So, you know, we're just a family-owned, small family-owned business, and we can't deliver eggs all, you know, all done as cheap as these big companies can, which is very sad because I feel like it's pushing a lot of us local farmers out the door. And so there are 3 local egg farmers in the Upper Peninsula that deliver eggs. And we're each kind of different. Like one's kind of central, one's west, one's kind of southeast. And so it works out just perfect. And you know what, I actually I'll go on, maybe, so Haley's going to be gone this weekend. Her and her bridesmaids are doing their bridesmaid weekly bridesmaid thing. And so, excuse me, next week I'll go on a delivery with Haley and I'll vlog it. I'll vlog her how she washes the eggs, how she cartons them, gets them in the van, you know, delivering them to our, you know, our different places. And so I'll do a little vlog of that. So I can do that next week. And then somebody had asked about, are we already hiding messages? Somebody had asked about homeschooling. I don't know what the exact question was, but I did homeschool my kids until they were in middle school. And we couldn't homeschool our children right away because they came from foster care. And so thank you. So, well, you know what? The backbone of my chicken farm is actually Haley. She is now the manager of it. We kind of shifted, like we own it, like I do the bills, but she is the one that washes the eggs, delivers the eggs all by herself, cleans the barn, manages all of our customers. And so we kind of asked her like, hey, would you like to take that over? And I think in the future, when me and my husband would like to just kind of be done, I would eventually like to give her the farm, the chicken side of it. Izzy wants to take over the horse side of it and do the shows and things like that. So Haley definitely is the more of a backbone. She keeps BSB Farms going, which I'm so proud of her. And in that way, she can still do something when she has her babies. You know, she can bring them and I can watch them, or they can run around the farm. And so it's something that she can do if she gets tired of being home. And it's only like 2 hours a day, but then when you deliver, it's longer. So you can actually, so I have a son that has dairy issues with certain things. There's some things he can have, but some he can't. He's lactose intolerant when it comes to like milks and like ice creams and stuff. So they actually make a dairy-free chip, and I think it's called Lily's. So you can actually buy a bag of, I think it's like a caribou type chocolate. So it's like a non-dairy. So you can still make the chocolate chip cookies, but with a non-dairy chip. So, or you can just leave the chips out and you could do another kind of chip if you wanted. But you can get them. You can check like an organic section or a specialty store does carry them. Okay, homeschooling. So I did homeschool my kids. I could only homeschool them once we had adopted them, because when they're in foster care, they have to go to the public school. And so one of the reasons I chose to homeschool, I'm not going to have any makeup on, whatever. One of the reasons I did choose to homeschool my children is because, so we have, I don't know if every state is the same. This is my beef tallow. I know somebody was asking if they sell it. I haven't gotten a hold of her, just because it's been like a very busy weekend with the holiday weekend. And then this week has already been, oh my goodness, crazy. But I homeschooled because each of my kids were in a different school. So because you do, if you do school of choice, you have to apply. And so some of my kids were going to one school district and the other ones were going to another one. So I literally had like 3 buses coming to our home. And my son Joshua, who a lot of people know, he has some disabilities. Well, when you are in a district, that district has to release you in order to go to another school. And the district that we were in refused to let Joshua go to another school district so he could be with his siblings, because they said because they had resources for him, he didn't need to be going to another school. So they just would not budge, and I didn't want Joshua going to school somewhere else. And so I thought, okay, I'm just going to bring them all home, and we'll just homeschool everybody. And so I homeschooled all 8 of my children. So where Robert and Brendan live at our rental, that was empty, and I turned that into a schoolhouse. So we had a huge room we worked in. We had a room where they can just veg and watch TV. We had a room where they could play. We had our kitchen and dining room, so we take lunch breaks and go eat. My husband's office was over there too, so then he would be working in his office. So I chose to homeschool just because I wanted my kids to be together, and I really wanted them on like a firm foundation. Like I wanted them to be like really strong. And I feel like I'm not anti-school. My kids went to public school, but I feel like the teachers are so overwhelmed just with the amount of students. And I feel like, so my husband's side of the family, all teachers, I just feel like teachers don't get it. They deserve more. And I feel like that they can't do as much one-on-one with kids as they'd like to, especially if they, maybe children who refuse to, work, or children who do struggle. They don't have a lot of resources or time to be able to spend as much one-on-one. And so I just felt like I wanted to get my kids like on a really firm foundation, not only education-wise, but spiritually. I wanted them to have a firm foundation before, they went to a public school, just so they were strong in what they believed, and they knew the foundations of math and English, and so anyway, so I homeschooled them until they were in middle school, and then it got to be very overwhelming for me, just because some of my kids, a lot of my kids did great, but a couple of them, they didn't want to do school for mom, and they didn't want to do school, and I felt like it was hard for me to be like a teacher and then a mother, and it's hard because I felt like, because we did start here in the house, and I felt like even when we weren't doing school, it was still there. And so I never could get away from it. And so it kind of made me a little crabby, because I'm like, you want a little break, like teachers, I'm sure they want a little break when they're in school. And I just didn't feel like I was getting that break. And then I started to get just very frustrated, and I just didn't feel like I was helping the kids as much as I did to start, because it was hard as the kids got older, and when your kid doesn't want to do anything, it's like, okay, you don't want to yell at them all the time or have to discipline them all the time. And so I felt like in order to keep my relationship with my kids good, I felt like it was time for them to go to school. And I really prayed about it and asked the Lord, like, hey, what do I do, And I do feel at peace sending them to school, because I just didn't want my kids to grow up with a mom that yelled all the time. I didn't want them to be like, oh yeah, my mom yelled all the time. And I just didn't want them to have those memories. I wanted to have a good relationship with my kids. And I felt like a couple of them who really struggled, like listening and wanting to like perform. I felt like if we continued on that path, we wouldn't have a relationship. So I felt it was best for our family for them to go to school, because I really wanted them to have a mom that was very gentle and excited to see them, and not, frustrated because we have to do school again. So I did homeschool for like 5 or 6 years. And so my older kids went to school first, and then, so that would be like Haley, David, Robert went to school first in 8th grade. Then I worked with the younger kids. And then the next year it was Gideon and Brendan. And then I worked with like Noah, Izzy, and Joshy, because he had a lot of services. He had to go to occupational therapy, physical therapy, speech therapy. And so for him to be in school was kind of hard, because he had a lot of things we were working on. So we'd have him in those, and then I would work with him at home, and then I worked with the little guys. And so then once they got to, I think it was fifth and fourth grade, they were like, can we go to school too? And when the kids started to go to school, it made homeschooling easier because I didn't have so many children. And then my bigger kids would help me with the younger kids. So it ran smooth, but not every kid is going to want to do school. And I was just like, just a little frustrated over it. And then, so I just talked with my husband and prayed about it. And we just felt like it was time to start getting them into school. And they were doing sports, so they were meeting friends. And in high school, at least here, you can't be a part of sports if you're homeschooled, and they really wanted to be, like, my kids love sports. And so then finally my last two went in fifth and fourth grade. But my kids had the best teachers ever. Josh, he started school when he was in high school. And the Lord gave us like the perfect person for Josh. Like, she's still our friend. She's come to all the kids' graduation parties and showers. Like, she just was a huge blessing to our family. And I cried. Like, when I was in the meeting with all the teachers before Josh went to high school, I cried and cried because, he's just so fragile, and it was hard to let him go to school. But she was just so kind, and she loved him so much, and she was just so great. Okay, so it looks like he needs to go. All right, there we go. And so anyway, I slowly transitioned my kids as they got older into school. And I am very thankful I did that, just because looking back now, I can see that because we were also bringing in foster kids. And so it was just a lot. I have the education to homeschool my kids, but it just became like a burden. There wasn't that sweetness of homeschooling my kids anymore. I felt like there was a lot of tension between me and a couple of my older children, just because of homeschooling. And I wanted to be their mother. I didn't want them to be their principal and teacher. And so I just felt like, it was a burden. It wasn't like, oh, we get to go to school. It was like, oh, more school. And so I had to make that decision. It was very hard. It's hard to admit, all that too, because, you only hear good things from parents and nobody wants to be, transparent on things. But it did become overwhelming. And I didn't like the person I was turning into. And I didn't want my kids to have a memory of a mom that was just yelling and upset all the time and burdened by them being there. And so I had to, thank you so much. I love my walls. I actually had somebody message me and say my walls look like garbage. Like, what am I thinking? They want to throw up, like, whatever. So anyway, that's my whole homeschooling thing. And now my kids are in school, and they did fine. They had a firm foundation before they went in. My kids, I taught my kids all of their grammar and everything. They can cursive. A lot of kids in school can't cursive anymore. My kids know how to do cursive. And we learned Latin. We did a lot of really cool things. And we did have fun too. Like, we could take vacations whenever we wanted. We could have snow days whenever we wanted. If the kids want to jump ahead in school, they could jump ahead in school. They helped each other. So it wasn't all bad, but toward the end, I could just tell it was kind of a burden to me, and I was getting tired, and it was just making me become a person I didn't want to be. And I thought, okay, do you want a relationship with your kids when you get older? Or do you want them to say my mom yelled all the time? So that's when I felt like it was time to transition them into school. So that's my homeschooling thing. Did it give you more energy to enrich home life when were you making as many cookies back then? So I've always been like, my mom made cookies. I made cookies too, but not as good as my mom until she started sharing her secrets with me. But I have always been a tradition person. Like, everything is traditions. Like, we have traditions at Christmas. We have traditions at Thanksgiving. I make certain cookies only at the holidays. Like, there's certain cookies I don't make all year until we get to Christmas, and my kids look forward to that. So I've always been into making pies and baking cookies and making treats. I do it a little more now, I guess, just because I want to share these with you. But I have kind of always been canning. My mom taught me how to can, my mom and my mother-in-law. So a lot of things that you see we did before even TikTok was even a thing. And before, Instagram and all this was about, I did all these things. So I'm just sharing with you guys things that I've done for years. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. And I was also, I have a lot of people ask me, like, how come you still cook for your adult kids? How come, They're adults. Why are you still taking care of them? Why are you still making them lunch? And I have to tell you that as a mom now that has young adults and teenagers, when my kids were younger, I felt like, holy cow, these kids are crazy. Like, I'm never going to get through the toddler years. And oh my goodness, they're so needy. And, trust me, I love being a mama. And that was one of the reasons I did homeschool, because I love my kids around me. I love it when there's snow days. And I love it when I don't love it when my kids are sick, but I love it because they're home. I'm getting hot flash. I love it when they're home. And I just like being around. That's why when people are like, your kids are always around you. They are. I don't go grocery shop without my kids. We go to lunch all the time. I try not to take a vacation unless one of my kids are with me. I really just love my kids with me. And as a mom now to adult kids, let me tell you, it goes really fast. I wake up in the morning, I'm thinking, holy cow, I'm 53 and my youngest is 17. Like, I feel like I'm going to cry today. So I wonder if I should wait to put my mascara on. But life really does go fast. And you young mamas who have babies and toddlers and younger kids, here's my advice. Don't sweat the small stuff. You don't have to worry about having your house completely clean. You can start teaching your kids younger to help you, but don't sweat the small stuff. Things that you think are huge, trust me, as a mom to adult kids, they're not huge. There are going to be way more serious things that pop up as they get older. Excuse me, as they start to become teenagers and they start to hit puberty. I mean, even now I have children that are older and they still struggle. They still need mom and dad. And so don't sweat the small stuff. If your kid doesn't want to eat that, it's okay. If you give them 2 cookies, don't feel guilty about it. I'm telling you, those small things are not going to matter when they're older. Hug up your kids. If they want to play with you, put the dishes down, stop cleaning and play with your kids. Because I'm telling you, in a matter of years, you're going to wake up and be like, oh my goodness, my baby just graduated. It's that fast. It's that fast. And I feel like now my kids need me more than they did when they were younger. This age is so tough because my kids are trying to find their way. They're trying to find their spouses. They're trying to figure out what they want to do with their life. And it is very overwhelming. And our kids, they still sometimes come over crying or upset or discouraged because they're struggling, and and my husband, I was even talking to him, he's like, yeah, my kids will lay down. If I'm on the couch, my kids fight to lay on the couch because they know they're going to get their heads rubbed. And because I know that life is hard. Like me, I'm an adult and I need my mom sometimes. And it's weird because my mom, she lives a ways away. And it's not like when I was a kid and she would just, kind of coddle me and stuff. She can't do that because now I'm a mom with kids. And so just love up on your babies. You're never going to catch up on your housework. I just want to tell you that. And if there's some days where all you can make is macaroni and cheese and hot dogs, don't feel guilty about it. Don't feel guilty about if you can't get to the laundry. And so I just want to tell you, thank you so much. I just want to tell you that when I was younger with my kids, I would kill myself to make sure my house was 100% clean. 100% clean. The dishes, there would be no dishes. I was obsessed with having my house clean. And I have to tell you, it wore me out. It absolutely wore me out. And I realized just praying and being in my Bible that I didn't have to do it on my own. And as our family grew, I realized I cannot do this myself. And so what I would do with my children is, when they were homeschooled, is I would have a list of things we needed to do that day. I just list them. So as my kids woke up, I think I've shared this story before. As my kids, that's an eagle right there. As my kids woke up, I'd say, okay, you have to pick one job that might be a little more tough, like maybe folding laundry or vacuuming. But then it'd be one job that's kind of harder, and then 2 that were just easy, like take out the garbage, pick up the shoes. And so my kids had to put their names next to those. And I didn't care when they did it, as long as it was done before we had dinner. Because after dinner, we just hung out, right? We hung out, we watched shows, we played games, we let the kids would play basketball. And so that was kind of my rule. And then they always did things in pairs. So they would find a partner, and dishes, everybody had to sign up for dishes. So maybe Monday night was Brendan and Gideon. And so they were a pair. So it was usually Brendan and Gideon, Robert and David, Josh and Haley, Noah and Izzy. And of course, Noah and Izzy were smaller. So I would have jobs for like little guys. And so when we're all cleaning the kitchen, like sometimes we'd all do it together. Noah and Izzy were always in charge of unloading the dishwasher. Yes, I did have a dishwasher back then. We didn't hardly use it. It stunk so bad I had to take it out because the kids would like run it and leave it or not run it. And then the dishes were molded. It was just disgusting. I'm like done with this. Plus I wanted the extra counter space. And so I would give Izzy and Noah even got jobs. Like I would do laundry and I'd say, okay, you guys are in charge of doing towels. Did they fold the towels right? No, but I didn't correct them. I just praised them. Good job on those towels. And then when they would go off playing, then I would fix them and put them up right away because I didn't want to hurt their feelings. So even when my kids were little, they all were a part of it. Like Joshy, he's always been my garbage guy. And Haley loved vacuum, so she'd be my vacuum girl. And I would do stuff too, so I wouldn't like expect them to do my whole house, but we'd work as a family. And sometimes if the house got really bad, we would all work together and we'd go from room to room. And so now that my kids are older and they have full-time jobs, of course, they're not around to help me. And so what I have done, I actually have, I think I've shared this before too, is so I've been doing this for about probably 4 or 5 years because I was getting so overwhelmed. And I keep telling my kids, you want to hear my slogan lately? I'm done raising kids. You guys are adults. I shouldn't have to keep raising adult kids. I've already raised you. Y'all know what you should do. You know what we expect. You know what what's good and bad. Now, come on. I shouldn't have to keep parenting you as an adult. I'm here as a counselor, as an advice giver. That's me. I do talk faster. Okay. All right. So anyway, so I will slow down. Let me see. Let's maybe we could remove him. So anyway, I will slow down. I know I do talk fast. So now what I do is I will pick a couple jobs. Cancel. I don't know. Hold on a second. There we go. Okay, hold on. Give me just 2 seconds here. All right. So what I do now is oh, I'm sorry. I don't know where do I have any moderators here? It's getting kind of hectic. Okay. So what I do now is I pick myself goals and I choose 3 goals. That's it. 3 goals. And when those goals are met, I'm done. Excuse me. Let me get some water. Hello. So that's what I do. So I'll tell you today, I do talk fast. Okay, perfect. So what I do is I pick 3 goals. So for today, let me tell you what today is. Today is bills. I'm going to pay my bills. Then I am going to clean my bathrooms. And then I am going to, what was my third one? Bills, bathrooms. Hold on, I got a little tickle. All right. Dry mouth from talking too much. So my goals are bills, bathrooms, and what was my third one? I think it was weeding the garden at the shop. So those are what I'm going to do. So once I'm done with those, that's it. I don't do anything else. I am making ribs today. Woo-wee! Well, question answer on YouTube. So you just asked me a question. I gotta keep going with my face. Hold on a second. I guess I'm probably giving like way more longer answers than everybody wants me to, but Okay, so Lisa asked, do I have any, her son start school? This must be your first one. So I tell you, it is really hard when you're used to your children being around all the time and then they start school. And so what you need to do is just, my kids, to make it easier, is we would have traditions for starting school. So I would go with all my kids, like, a lot of other parents, you go and buy school supplies, but we would make a day of it. And so this just made it easier to send my kids to school. So sorry about that. So we would go to school and we would pick out all their school stuff, and then they get to pick 2 new outfits for school and then a pair of new shoes. And then we would go to lunch. So we would actually make a day of when they had to go to school, just so it would be a little easier for me and for them, and just to get them excited. And I tell you, you're going to cry. I mean, I'll just be straight up with you. You're going to cry. You're probably going to struggle all day, wondering how they're doing. But you just, make sure that you're very involved. So be involved with the school. When there's a sign up for treats or a sign up to help with the school, be a part of that. Make sure that you go to everything. If they have, a Christmas concert, or they have like a music thing, go to all of them, because I'm telling you, lots of memories, and your kids will really love seeing you there. And don't get stressed too. Like, if your little guy's not feeling good, it's okay for him to stay home. If he's having a bad day, ask him questions like, how was school? Maybe you could actually go and get special stuff for his lunches and help him make his lunches together. And so I drove my kids to school because there was no bus system out here. And so I drove my kids to school, and we would pray before they, got out of the car. But I was very involved with all of their sports, with their academic stuff. But it is hard. You're going to cry the first day, and you're going to be like, oh my goodness, I can't believe my baby's going to school. But just make it like super exciting, and try and do some fun things with them before, he goes, like the picking out 2 outfits and helping them get ready. And I always make my kids a special breakfast before they go to school too. I get up super early before they go to school, and I make them a big breakfast. And I have to tell you, like, it doesn't get any easier. At least it wasn't for me. Like, I hated to see my kids go to school after the whole summer, just because I just like being around my kids, and so it is going to be tough, mama, but you're going to do okay. And just really be involved, ask him lots of questions, see how you can help at the school, be a part of all of his stuff in his classrooms. But it does get easier for sure. I mean, you will miss them. It's hard not to have them around all the time. And then on the weekends, I would make sure that you do special things on the weekends with them, just to kind of make up for not seeing them. But I do got to let you go. So my husband, I don't mean to end early, but my husband has been trying to get a hold of me. He's out at the fields, and my kids are heading out to deliver some eggs. And my girls are getting ready to leave tomorrow, so I got to kind of help them with some things. But normally I am on here longer, but I do got to get going. And I didn't get to finish my makeup because I talk so much. But anyway, thank you so much for being on this live. I'll do another question and answer maybe later this week or maybe next week. So when I post this, put in the comments what you'd like me to talk about, and I'll actually write all those down. So when we meet next week or later this week, I can answer those right away. Okay, guys, well, thank you so much. Have a wonderful day, and make sure to subscribe and like our page. All right, bye.